Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, stop calling and let me do my job. That's not how electronic bill pay works, ma'am. From help desk to the red carpet. Button does not work. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Stop calling and let me do my job. This story takes place while I was working for an MSP late last year. One of our clients was a large university with multiple campuses spread across the country. At the time, they were planning to do a major upgrade on one of their main campuses, and wanted to set up a temporary satellite site for employees to work from while the upgrade was taking place. After some conversations, I agreed to fly out to this new site to mount some switches, firewalls, and servers to get the network up and running. At first, I was very reluctant to go because my significant other was going to undergo surgery during my stay. After this experience, I'll never make a sacrifice like this again, but in the end I agreed to go and got to packing. I also want to point out that this would be my first time ever mounting this stuff on a rack. I more or less knew what the finished result is supposed to look like since I've had to troubleshoot switches and servers before, but I never had to set it up from scratch. Anyways, my boss assured me that two of our partners were going to contact me to walk me through the process, and that I had nothing to worry about, right? A week later I fly out to the site and start unboxing the devices. Once I arrive, everything was sent directly to the site, so I didn't have to bring anything with me on the plane apart from some tools. It was around 4 p.m. at this time, since the devices took quite a while to arrive. The counts all matched up, and so it was time to get started. I get in contact with our first partner, who we'll call Tom. He emailed me a diagram of the cabling, and the order in which the devices are supposed to be racked. With the diagram pulled up on front of me, I get on the call with him, and he starts guiding me through the process. After a decent amount of physical labor, I managed to get everything set up according to the diagram. I sent Tom a picture of my work. Tom, okay, everything looks good. Good job, Procmill. Me, thank you so much the help, Tom. Thanks for being patient with me since it's my first time doing it all. Can I go ahead and power everything up now? Tom, not yet, give Shane a call. He's the networking guy that pre-configured everything, and he'll be doing the testing with you. He created the diagram, and from what I can see everything matches up perfectly, so it should be straightforward. Me, okay Tom, I'll give him a call, thanks. I proceed to call Shane. Shane, hello? Is this Procmill? Me, yeah, I'm at the site and everything is mounted up. Tom said it looked good, so we can go ahead dash. Shane, finally. I've been waiting for hours, what the hell took so long? Me, well, it was my first time setting it up, and I thought my boss told you that dash. Shane, my first time setting up a rack, I had it done in 15 minutes with no issues. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. It's not powered up yet, right? Me. No, it's not powered up. Shane, okay, thank God. Assuming everything is good, start powering up the devices in this order. He proceeds to tell me what order to plug the devices into the outlets, which I follow accordingly. Shane, okay, does everything look like it's up? Me, yeah, everything appears to be lit up. Shane, alright, I'm able to remote in properly. Now let me do my configurations, and I'll call you to start testing. Me, alright, sounds go dash. Wow, this guy clearly doesn't like to waste time. Alright, let me update my boss and let him know the situation. I called up my boss and explained that everything is set up and that Shane is just checking the configurations before he has me test. At this point, it is around 6:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. Considering everything was pre-configured, I didn't think it would take that long to get everything set up. Let me call up Shane to make sure everything is going okay. Shane picks up after a few rings /. Shane, hello? What do you need? Me, hey, I'm just calling to check if everything is going okay. Shane, well, now that you mention it, I can't contact switch 2. Can you make sure the connections are set up according to the diagram? Me, sure, let me double check. I check and everything is right. But one of the ports on switch 2 isn't lit up, even though it has a patch cable connected to it. Me, it's connected properly, but port X doesn't look like it's up. Want me to check the config? Shane, no, don't go into that switch. Try replacing the cable. Me, okay, sure. I get a spare patch cable and replace the defective one. The port lights up. Me, looks like that did it. Shane, of course it did, it's impossible to have been a configuration error. Okay, thank you. Alright, making some progress. I wonder how long he had been encountering that issue and just didn't bother to call me. Well, no matter. I just hope he actually calls when it's ready for testing. 9 p.m. Nothing from Shane. I get ready to call him again, but considering how much he enjoyed me calling last time, I'd rather check in with Tom and see if he updated him first. I call Tom, and he assures me that Shane had not contacted him. I call my boss, and he tells me the same. Sigh. Well, whether Shane likes it or not, this needs to get done tonight, so I'm gonna call him. Me, hello Shane? Shane, what do you want? I'm very busy setting this up right now. Me, I know, I just want to make sure everything is going okay on your end, and if there's anything else you need me to check. Shane, no, everything is fine. Please leave me alone and let me do my work. Me, okay Shaw dash. 11 p.m. I order some dinner, just some fast food, and double-check my ticket for my flight back in the morning. My flight was departing at 5:20 a.m., and the airport was 90 minutes away. Every time check got more and more depressing as I realized how much sleep I was losing here. And unfortunately, I was not blessed with the ability to fall asleep anywhere, especially not in a server room with the fans roaring loudly as ever. I checked in with my SO every few hours to make sure everything was going well post-surgery, and thankfully the news was good. At least I didn't have to worry about that. Multiple times, I thought about going to the hotel room to sneak in a nap until Shane called me, but the server room door was set to close and lock automatically. If I propped the door open with a chair, the alarm would go off after 5 minutes. Oh, and guess who was never given a key, because they didn't think I would need to stay there after the building's 8 p.m. closing time. This was not turning out to be the work trip I imagined. 12:30 a.m. I made up my mind that I was leaving back to my hotel room. At this point I didn't care about completing the work, my well-being was worth more than being stuck in this hellhole. The flight was too short to get enough sleep to make up for a full night, and I had to go visit my SO at the hospital immediately after landing, so there was no time to sleep then either. I gave my boss a call. I knew he was probably asleep, but at this point my envy for sleep took over my guilt for waking him up. Boss, Procmill? What happened? Is everything okay? Me, I'm still here. I haven't heard from Shane in nearly 4 hours, and I have a flight in less than 5 hours. I need to leave. Boss, he's still not done? What the hell am I paying him for? Ugh, okay. I'm sorry that you had to go through this. Just go, we'll deal with everything tomorrow. Give Shane a call and tell him that you won't be able to stay for testing. If he has a problem, tell him to call me. How was I graced with having a boss as understanding as you? Me, thank you. I'll let him know. I'll update you in the morning, good night. I give Shane a call, he doesn't pick up. I call him a second time, still no answer. I call him a third time, and he picks up, sounding groggy. Shane, hello? Me, Shane, what's the status? Shane, what? Oh yeah, I'm almost done, I think I'll finish up soon. I'll let you know when it's ready for testing. Me. Shane, I'm leaving, call my boss if you have any issues. Shane, wait, what? What do you dash? I was too tired to even be mad at the possibility of him having fallen asleep. I gather my stuff, and I head back to the hotel room to get whatever amount of sleep I could. I made my flight, got a bit more sleep on the plane, and did what I had to do the next day. The next time I came into work, I asked my boss what they ended up doing for the site. He told me that Shane didn't finish until the next day, and they had to contact one of the local techs from the main campus to come out and test. Shane was not given any more work with us for the next few months, until Tom received too much work to handle, and had to beg for my boss to let Shane back. All's well that ends well. And there you have it. Moral of the story? Don't sacrifice the well-being of you or your loved ones for work. It's almost never worth it. That's not how electronic bill pay works, ma'am. So, this is a real flashback. Circa 2005, at the height of dial-up and the rise of broadband, I worked for a local ISP as a tech support agent. We provided all kinds of services to our customers, as most small ISPs did, to win customers away from the big guys like AOL. One of those services was selling and servicing computers. Anyway, this lovely customer, a young 80-year-old woman, let's call her Mrs. Robinson, who was one of our dial-up customers, purchased one of these systems from us. She told me the day she paid for it that she was so excited, and that her grandson would be teaching her how to use the system, and she planned to use this to pay her bills. Fast forward 3 months. I'm downstairs in the customer service center flirting with the cute Australian girl who worked there when I see this sweet little old lady angrily slamming the computer she had just purchased into a folding cart, and she headed for the door. I met her at the door, opening it for her, and greeted her. "Hi, Mrs. Robinson. Let me help with that." She shoves past me and into the customer service area. Clearly sensing she was incredibly angry about something, I followed her in and asked what was wrong. "I just got this $F and $@ shut-off notice from the power company," she shouted as she slammed the shut-off notice down on the counter. "I bought this POS to pay bills electronically, and this is what I get. I demand a refund, and I demand you contact the power company immediately and inform them that this was your fault." I immediately apologized just to get her blood pressure to lower. "Mrs. Robinson, let me take a look at your computer," I said as I unloaded it from her folding cart. She agreed, and I took the system behind the wall to the cash register area in the customer service offices. I go to plug it in and hook it to a monitor that was back there, when I noticed something. A small sliver of paper sticking out from the 3.5 floppy drive. Curious, I grabbed a pair of tweezers, and I opened up the flap on the disk drive. And proceeded to pull out 3 neatly folded checks, made payable to the local electric company. I had to close the door to the register area. I started laughing immediately. After a few minutes, I composed myself and walked out, PC and checks in hand. "Mrs. Robinson, I'm sorry this has been so frustrating for you, but the issue is that this isn't how electronic payment works." I go on to explain the process, and she apologized profusely. That cute Australian girl called the power company for her and explained the situation, and they even waived her late fees. She swore to never pay bills online again. From help desk to the red carpet. This will probably sound fake AF, but this is a weird tale from when I got wrapped up in a super niche job that led to shaking hands with a few goodfellas, 0.01%ers, and war criminals. The most high-profile job I've had involved being the only technician supporting a bunch of super specialized hardware systems for multi-million-dollar projects. A few of these projects happened to coincide. I was overseas for months on one huge install, and was looking forward to a break when I got back home. Within a week of returning, I was needed in Vegas to oversee the deployment of a prototype system. The trip would have been 3 days. Partner A was paying for a hotel room upgrade, and I talked my company into tripling my per diem, because the company didn't respect my need for a break, so it was a somewhat worthwhile trip. Things went surprisingly well given the tendency for the systems we used to never cooperate, especially on deployment days. We only needed 3 hours of an expected 8 to get everything running, much of which was spent reverse troubleshooting why things went right, because that never happens. To celebrate a job well done, the lead of Partner A took our small team to dinner. Halfway trough my steak, I receive a call from Partner B melting down at a major film festival across the country. This film festival project also involved Partner A, so it was a bit tense with the accusation of my systems being a disaster. For some context, the project in Vegas was relatively basic compared to what we were doing for the festival and what we did overseas. The festival deployment had way more moving parts and used tons of experimental, pre-release, and development hardware. Issues were aplenty, but what Partner B was describing wasn't new. Once I got them to describe the actual problem, I immediately knew that the issue was a loose cable. There was no convincing them. They were certain that the problem was with the $5,000 piece of hardware that the whole system was built around. I tried to walk them through the process of closing down an application, resetting the hardware, ensuring fully seated connections, and restarting the application, but they stopped listening after the first instruction and proceeded to make everything worse. In their defense, the system crashed when a list actors were inside or queued for the showing. They demanded I not only red-eye my way to the film festival immediately and replace the hardware, but also stay for the duration of the 2-week festival to ensure that any future issues would be handled immediately. I had only packed for a 3-day trip and wasn't keen on more time not taking my deserved break, but I was also down to get paid to attend the festival. I worked out my responsibilities and compensation with my boss, and let them negotiate with the partners. An agreement was reached, and I was on my way to the festival. I get a cab straight from the airport at 4 in the morning and, sure enough, the cable wasn't fully seated. Everything was back up and running within minutes of being on site. Finn? But wait, there's more. The prima donna Partner B had a habit of doing messy things to take all of the credit for the project's successes and blaming all of its shortcomings on a colleague, who worked for my company, and I. Given that this affected funding and investment opportunities, optics with potential partners in a small industry, and personal reputations of all involved, their shenanigans didn't go over well. After Partner B cut my colleague out of a meeting with one of the wealthiest people on the planet, I was given a directive to make Partner B look like in a hole. The next showing was to a high-ranking diplomat that Partner B was personally ushering through the experience in an effort to try and get some government contract money. Every part of this system was critical, but they all communicated through a fancy Wi-Fi router. I was the only one with the password, and I had the portal ready to go on my phone from just off-site. As soon as I saw traffic kick up, indicating the showing had started, I rebooted the router, taking the whole system down with it. I rush up when I get the call, and by the time I'm there everything is back to normal. Partner B wastes no time ripping into me about what a garbage system they were provided. From my perspective, ignoring the fact that I sabotaged the showing, it appeared like a cut and dry user error. In front of the diplomat I get to explain that nothing is wrong. The system is stable, and Partner B needs to be more careful because the system is one-of-a-kind masterpiece of bleeding-edge prototype technology, not the Xbox they kept treating it as. I kept hammering the fact that half of the gear was still years away from official release, and the rest was bespoke or enterprise gear worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. True stability was impossible with a system like this, and the only solution was for the operator, Partner B, to treat the system with care and respect. If they couldn't be trusted to operate it responsibly, then I'd need them to stay out of the room and hand the keys to my colleague and I. They got the point. At the very least, I got to answer some questions the diplomat had about the technical side of the project. I still don't know if it affected the outcome of the meeting, but Partner B did start vocally respecting the technological achievement and giving me props whenever I was in the room. We ended up winning the Best in Show, or whatever they called it, for our category in that film festival. Partner B wanted to be the only one on stage to accept the award, but my company and Partner A wouldn't allow that. My colleague and I would be on stage, or Partner B would lose all future access to the proprietary systems and support for any future installments. I got to walk the red carpet and take the stage with the rest of the team to accept our award. I'm super proud of the project and would still be proud if I wasn't on stage, but I'm still tickled that my red carpet moment was made possible by a tech support call from a user that couldn't plug in a cable. Button does not work. Hello. I am back with yet another story of mine. This is from a few years ago. It is quite long actually. I am typing this story while on a train home, so on the phone. This is a story I tell all the new folks, if talking about why they should ask leading questions. Why they need to try to actually understand what the person on the other end is saying, and why they need some great puzzle skills to work in IT support. I don't really remember all the details, so a few bits are missing. So, I was relatively new to IT support. It was back when I still had a small hope of users being actually okay with basic tech lingo, like computer /= screen, was heartbroken when I learned they mixed them together. Also noteworthy, we had literally taken over support from another business, 2 to 3 months prior or so we had no senior folks yet that we could ask. Me, welcome to Redacted IT Support, you are speaking to Anders. User, hello. I have this problem. The button does not work. Me, okay, so you press the button and nothing happens. User, yes, can you fix it? Me, I will certainly try. So what kind of a button is it? User, it's a button, you press it. Me, okay, is it on your keyboard? User, no. Me, okay, is it a button on your computer mouse? User, no, it is not. Me, so it's not on your mouse or on your keyboard, is it on your computer? User, no. Me, what happens when you push it? User, the thing goes up and down. Okay, I was honestly a bit confused at this point. I didn't know where to go from here. All I knew was that this was either a really semi-conscious person or he just could not care less, and did not even try to be helpful. Me, so, it goes up and down? User, yes. Me, is it Windows that goes up and down? User, not really, but also yes, I'm not tech savvy. Me, can I connect to your computer and see what's wrong? User, no, it is not here. Okay, at this point I started to think it actually was a prank call, like what do you want? Just mess around? You can do that somewhere else, not here kiddo. Me, so. There's a button that does not work, and your computer is not connected to it. User, correct. Me, can you connect your computer to it? User, I can't, there is nothing to connect to, only electric wire go into this thing. Okay, now I am even more confused. Like what? I am trying to think of things to say that can possibly help me figure it out. Then I remembered something, I had to try it. Me, can you please walk me through what usually happens from the moment you push the button? User, yes, the thing closes. Me, okay, is it possible to open the thing? User, yes, the other button makes it go up. Me, okay. What is the thing that goes up and then down, and why is it not working? User, you know. These things. Truck stop here and you open this? Me, yes, I know what you are talking about. User, good, finally, the thing that does not close this. Me, you mean a garage door / port? User, yes, kind of, but bigger. Okay, we're finally going somewhere. Me, is there any physical problems with this? User, yes, you know those green things? Me, you mean trash cans? User, no but yes, bigger. Me, yes, I know those, yeah, those big metal in metal. User, yes, I forgot them in the garage door, now it doesn't close when I push this button. Me, aha, I see, can you please contact the building manager? User, who is that? I don't know this. So I look around, give him a number that I found somewhere. Always ask leading questions, get the user to talk. You never know what clue may lead to you to figure out what the user with no communication skills are trying to tell you or ask you.